Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this amazing, beautiful, spinning through the universe rock that is Earth. My name is Jade and you are watching, listening to How to App on iOS, and today we have an amazing, brilliant musician by the name of Satish Robertson. So kick back and we're going to listen to some of his tunes. How good was that, folks? Welcome to the show. Man, we have a really cool interview for you today. So glad you all could join us here in the live stream. So we'll just shout out Scott, Tom, Rochelle, people I can see here immediately, Langston, Reese. We have a special treat for you today. I would like to welcome to the show the amazing, the incomparable, super duper trumpet player, multi-instrumentalist, man of 1,000 musings on music, Satish Robertson. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Jade. Glad to be here.
It's been a while that I've wanted you on the show, so I'm really stoked to have you on because I love your music. I just love what you do, and I love more so, not more so, but as well the who you are, the aura around you, your moral system, your personability, all that kind of stuff. It's what is a complete package. So welcome to the show. Let's dive straight in. And for those of you playing along at home, that song was called The Path is Hard. And let's just ask about that. So how long ago did you put that song together?
I wrote and recorded that the summer of 2017. And the melody came to me first. And as I fleshed out the melody and I started thinking about the state of things in my life at that time and how I was feeling spiritually, I realized, like, yeah, I'm walking a very difficult path and I have divine guidance along that difficult path. And it correlates with a quote from the Bible. I'm paraphrasing, the way is narrow and only a few shall. So, all that. So that explains like the fervent nature of the music. Like it's like a spiritual battle going on, a determination to pull through the fire.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
And when I lock horns with my trombonist, that's when it kind of reaches its peak.
Yeah, man. Like even yesterday, I saw you posted an awesome photo of you and your family, and I just loved in the photo that in your hand was your instrument. It's like part of the family. And I thought that was really symbolic, man. Yeah, and there it is.
This is my love thing right here. Like aside from my family, this is it.
Yeah. I thought it was a beautiful encapsulation of who you are. So I really love that. And all right, so the first question I really ask everybody this question because I know it can put people on the spot. But what does music mean to Satish Robertson?
Music means to me love. Music means to me freedom. Music means to me healing. It means freedom of expression. It means adventure. It means discovery. I could really go on and on and on. It means escape.
Feel free, go on.
It means catharsis, And then, it means release, and that could go any way you want. Sometimes you could use music to release frustration. You can use music to even release anger if that's what you're feeling. You can use music to release any other thing that's inside you, and music may be the only way that you can get it out.
Yep. Definitely. Totally agree. Music is so many things to so many different people. And, I look at music myself as like a healing tool. As something, something that magically gives me goosebumps. Anything that gives you goosebumps is good. I've had a few people in the chat saying there's echo. Is there still echo in here? Let me see why that is. I don't know why that is. Is it still happening, folks? It's really unusual. Normally I don't really have any echo. So we'll see if that's fixed it. I've tried to do a couple of things. Is that any better, folks? Please let me know. Like, too much echo. Was there echo at the start? There was at the start, or wasn't? I'm not getting any feedback now, so nobody's writing anything, so I'm guessing that it's fixed. I don't know. What are your... so it's only when...
they're saying echo only happens when I speak.
Yeah. Wonder why that is. Let me just check. That's odd. Sound. All the monitoring's off, so is it still there? Because I thought I had killed it. We'll press on. Hopefully we've worked it, because I can't really do much from this end. What is the earliest memory of music for you in growing up in your household?
That one is easy. I had to be maybe 4 years old. And I was raised by my grandparents. My mother was always there, but I was raised by my grandparents. My earliest memory, I had to be about 4 years old. My grandmother, who I loved more than life itself, she would put on this John Coltrane record called My Favorite Things. And I still remember that big blue record cover. I ended up getting that album on CD and LP as I became an adult. But as a toddler, I remember she would put that record on, and I hear the opening powerful piano chords and the drums, and then that groove kicks in, and she would just hold me up in the air and just dance around in circles with me. And I just always loved music from that moment on.
What type of music? Do you remember any artists or the main artists that you would hear in the house?
Definitely. Obviously jazz is very special to me, but I grew up on the best of everything from my grand. She was the hippest, you know. Her taste was staggeringly vast. She had all the best jazz, Motown, opera, classical, disco, classic rock, soul, funk, right on up to whatever was the latest release from people like Luther Vandross or Prince or Stevie Wonder. She had the Crush Groove soundtrack, Run DMC. You know, so I grew up with the best of everything. I remember when Lisa Stansfield came out with Been Around the World in '89, my grandmother was dancing to that, blasting that around the house. She loved Whitney Houston. And when I became a teen, I got her into some of the hip hop I was into. I got her into Nas, and Lauryn Hill, and Eminem, and all that. So like she had just such a gigantic and open-minded love of music.
Man, I wish I could trade mine. And you mentioned Been Around the World. Like I know when I was younger, I only listened to heavy metal. When I was super young, of course, there's music that was not heavy metal, but as soon as I got old enough to get my own music, but I got into heavy metal. But then I was in a school band, and one of the first songs the school band made me sing was Been Around the World. And I remember being like, are you kidding me? I'm not singing that stuff. I'm heavy metal, man. But then as soon as I heard that song properly, it was Been Around the World. Nah. Oh, man, that vocal is just... Woo. You know, it's amazing how songs can touch you so deeply.
Absolutely.
And leave a scar deeper than any physical scar you can ever really
That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
So what was the first instrument that you started to learn?
First instrument was piano.
Wow.
I started taking piano lessons at 7. My mother also plays piano. So I was learning from her and her piano teacher that taught her when she was a child.
Right.
So I took lessons for many years, and then even after lessons stopped, I continued to teach myself piano. And I taught myself a little guitar, and you know, I actually started rapping when I was a teenager as well, and I still do on occasion, even in some of my recordings.
Yeah.
I took up bass, electric bass, and also taught myself a little upright bass. I taught myself a little saxophone, even though I didn't have the passion to continue it. But I took up trumpet just 2 months before I turned 21, and that was 19 years ago. I just turned 40 a few days ago. And
happy birthday, by the way. Happy birthday.
Thank you. And when I took up trumpet, I knew this is definitely going to be my main thing. I'm putting all my energy, all my practice, and I'm gonna tell you something. Out of every instrument that I've had my hand at, trumpet for me is by far the hardest because it's so physically demanding. What you have to do, vibrating your lips
Yeah.
against this metal mouthpiece, against your teeth, is very taxing. It's like weightlift. It's like bodybuilding for your face. You're building all this strength in your mouth, your facial muscles, your tongue, your lung power, and stamina is a big issue for even the best trumpet players. So it's specific exercises that we have to do on the daily in order to retain our strength and to build our strength and to just continue to build our command of the instrument. So it was a very uphill battle, frustrating, but my hunger to be a great trumpet player far outweighed my trepidation.
I had a music teacher once who played trumpet and also was a singing teacher, and I'll never forget, he told me that never underestimate the trumpet as a singer because trumpet players and singers are very similar because you need to you have a lot of strength in your throat, in your stomach, in your chest, in your face. So, you know, it is and as you said, it's a very physical workout. You know, and a lot of instruments are physical workouts. I mean, the calluses.
Instruments are very physical. People don't realize unless they play, but instruments are. You should see what happened to a lot of my bass player friends' fingers. It's brutal.
My fingers bleed. Seriously. So, you said that you picked up the saxophone and had a play on that. What's the difference you find between something like a saxophone and, you know, obviously there's a reed with a saxophone, yeah? That's I'm right in saying that compared to the playing a trumpet.
Both of those instruments have their challenges. The saxophone is far easier just to get a sound of immediately as a first timer.
Yep.
Like if you take two people of the same aptitude, the same ability to learn and process, and you start one off on the trumpet and one off on the saxophone, the saxophone student is going to advance quicker because of the setup of the instrument. You know, trumpet only has 3 buttons, so all the notes is coming from the velocity of your air and the rate of vibration from your lips. Saxophone, you have all these buttons to aid, and you have something in the back called an octave key, which aids you in going into the upper register.
The cheat key.
Trumpet, the upper register just has to be built. You have to work hard and develop your upper register. Saxophone is way more comfortable with the mouthpiece going in your mouth with the reed, and the reed is what's vibrating against the mouthpiece. Now, saxophone, as you progress, saxophone progressively gets amazingly difficult, but in terms of like starting off, the learning curve just to get the basics down is much less harrowing than getting the basics down on trumpet.
So over Christmas just gone, I guess last year, before this evil year began, I was starting to look at a saxophone myself because I always want to pick up something new and learn. But the investment seemed to be, you know, they're expensive. Brass instruments, man, you would know, they're expensive. So I did this crazy thing of buying, I showed it to you, like I showed it to you before, this hybrid breed of a saxophone and a recorder. I forget. But mainly, like, it was $50. It's pretty much a piece of junk, right? But so it has all the recorder holes, pretty much, but the sound of a saxophone, so they say.
Let me hear how it sounds.
I'm no good at it. I'm still just trying to get down, actually, like, using the reed. That's why I got it. To learn how to bite down and actually get a sound through the reed, because it was $40. And if I can do that, the finger placements aren't as important, I thought, because I'm not going to be studying this because it's a recorder virtually that kind of sounds like a sax. So it was a cheap way to buy a reed instrument and try and get my mouth to do it. But yeah, as you said, like even just blowing into a reed, man, 20, 30 minutes. I can't even talk. My face hurts. I just want to slap my face. So I bow down to you for being able to pull off something like that, you know, for a whole show. So speaking of which, so I read in one of your bios that you've had a whole lot of mentors and people that have helped you get to where you are. How has that been? Who are these people, and how has that helped you get to where you are today?
Well, I consider the first great trumpet teacher I had to be Rob Hankey. Rob Hankey is a trumpet player based out of Jersey. Crazy, amazing, unpredictable artistic soul in general, of German descent. He plays trumpet. He's a genius with the visual arts. He's just like, he pours out artistry. And what I got from my lessons with him was, yes, study your craft, study the greats, study the history, but make sure that all this is in service of discovering who you are. Don't get so enamored with who you idolize that all you become is a carbon copy of them. And he would constantly stress that to me.
And that's a hard thing that can happen, you know, falling into, as a performer, falling into the trap of sounding like your idols.
Yeah, because I started trumpet because of Miles Davis.
Yeah.
And for the first probably 5 years, that's all I wanted to sound like Miles. I even held the trumpet like I'm pointing it down and playing kind of in his sparse manner and all that. And that was perfect for Miles. That's what made him the man. But that's him, that's his thing. I had to figure out who I am. So as I continue to study the greats and study under, some of these current day greats, they all played roles in helping me chip away at who Satish is. I would take elements that I like from all these different people, but I would try to keep in mind, this is about discovering and expressing me. So Rob Hankey was very instrumental in that. Now, another teacher who I also had around the same time, and these three people I'm naming right now, I ended up playing in the band with them, a big jazz orchestra from Jersey called Spirit of Life Ensemble. I started off studying under these guys. Next person I'm gonna name is Vinny Coutreau. Vinny remains one of the most mind-blowing and incredible trumpet players I've ever heard. His technique alone is staggering. Like, I see these brilliant flashes of color when I listen to him play. Yeah. And so he got me interested in that more extroverted, virtuosic element of the trumpet. So he was like, okay, if that's what you like, check out Freddie Hubbard, check out Woody Shaw, check out those guys. So I checked them out, and that helped me see where he came from. And it also helped me appreciate how, although those are his influences, he still found Vinny Coutreau.
Yeah, right.
So, I took those elements, and again, I used them, in the purpose of discovering Satish. Now, the third guy I'm gonna name from that group is the late Ted Curson. Ted Curson was a jazz great who unfortunately never got the fame he deserved, but he was around during that time with the Miles Davises and the Dizzy Gillespies, the Tony Smoke. He knew all them people, he played with a lot of them, and he was a blessing in that band. He was a blessing in that band because he was a link to history. And right up until his death in his late 70s, he sounded amazing. So he was instrumental in helping me realize what a powerful legacy this is and what a task I have and how I am to really respect what I'm doing and approach it as such. Be serious about it, be diligent about it, don't BS with it.
Yep.
Get my stuff together. Let nothing, nobody, not even myself, stand in my way.
Back yourself 100%.
Yes. And then from there on, I had a whole bunch of other mentors. Some of them weren't even trumpet players. A couple of saxophonists, they were very instrumental in broadening my approach to the trumpet because I would hear what they were doing, and I was like, that stuff is very unorthodox on the trumpet. How cool would it sound if I take that and apply it to the trumpet? Now, that's the same thing that a couple of my big heroes from the past did. Freddie Hubbard, and Woody Shaw. They took things that weren't native to the trumpet and they applied it to the trumpet, and they got the most astounding results. They're very exotic sounding, very intriguing, you know.
And
And then
some of the best
go
artists in
ahead.
the world. That's how they became the best artists in the world, because they took what you weren't meant to do with their particular instrument and
That's right.
said, "Well, I'm going to do exactly the opposite because you're telling me I'm not meant to." And that's
That's
what makes music exciting. And you know, just talking about that for a second, like music being exciting.
Mhm.
Do you think music these days has lost its edgy, its danger? Do you think there's not enough danger in music
That is
anymore?
that is a great question, and I will say, as far as what we're bombarded with on radio, yes, yes, and it sucks. I'm gonna tell you like this. I've been fortunate to be around a lot of creative music circles out here in New York and beyond. So I can say that it is definitely still around. There's still a lot of danger,
Yeah.
excitement, creativity going against the grain. But the powers that be is going to make sure they push all this homogenized, sanitized product into our ears. So, you know,
Preach,
the
man.
real stuff is out there, y'all. Y'all just gotta dig for it a little bit. But it's out. It's some killer stuff out there from all genres going down.
Yeah.
You know, don't let what's pushed on pop radio fool you.
Yeah, well, thankfully, radio's dying a very
Yeah.
faster death each year, thankfully.
Yeah.
And
Amen.
yeah, as you said too, you know, like some of your mentors, there's an incredibly vast amount of musicians who are just before their time, and dangerous, and doing things that, you know, if they had the push, would really take music to a different place. And unfortunately, these people aren't getting noticed, but they are getting noticed to musicians who are still wanting to be dangerous, like yourself. So
Yeah.
at least there's a number of us. I'd like to count myself as one of those people who will always be dangerous. Like,
Well, having heard your stuff, you in there like swimwear, as we like to say out here.
thank you.
Yes.
Danger is the key to music, in my opinion. So,
That's it. That's it.
so
And that's what I loved about people like Miles, Prince, Frank Zappa, Hendrix, Jay Dilla, you know what I'm saying? And those are some of my influence, like beyond just my instrument. When you talk about music as a whole, I draw from a wide variety of sources. And they all have that in common, no matter what genre they're from, what era they're from. There's that element of danger, excitement, discovery, breaking the rules, non-conformity. It's beautiful.
oh yeah, music to my ears, and there's no music playing except for your music in the background. So
And that's what inspired that track right there. I wanted to do something that was going to shock everybody, something way different than anything I ever did before.
well, we might So I don't know. You can choose what I play next later on. Like, I was going to play every time I come around, but if you want me to play that later on, we can do that. Or we can play both. I don't really care. So
Well, if we have time to play both, then let's play both. If not, then let's do that 80s joint talking about danger.
you know what? Let's just do it right now. Let's just cut to this song because I've got it here. So you can mute your mic. I'll mute my mic and we'll pop it up. So this is 80s Joint by Satish Robertson. And let's smash it, get my full screen. And we're doing all the right things because it's dangerous. All right, let's hit play there and go for it. Ah, Love Danger. Man, that song, I remember when you first dropped that. Let's get back to our cameras there. I remember when you first dropped that, I was like, whoa, man, talk about direction change. And as somebody who, Tom Rochelle says, a little Herbie Hancock, a little Ray Parker Jr. Ghostbusters, and a little Gary Newman Cars.
Yeah, I deliberately took elements from a lot of that music that I loved when I was a small boy in the 80s. And I sought ways to interweave all those into that one track. So they were very and intended references to all those people. Some Herbie, some Prince, some Gary Newman, some Thomas Dolby, some Ray Parker, some Cyndi Lauper, some Van Halen towards the end. And yeah, I had a ball making that track. That was actually the first complete song that I did in GarageBand. I just started using GarageBand last summer. It was something I've been meaning to get to. Yeah, I've only been on it for over a year, and I still have a lot to learn, but I treat it the way I treat my trumpet. I'm always studying up on it and practicing my hand at perfecting different things and, looking at very informative content that people like yourself and Pete Johns put out. So, thank you guys for that. And yeah, with 80s joint, I had been on GarageBand for maybe a couple months, and before I made 80s joint, I was mostly using GarageBand just to create demos of my songs that I was playing live with my band. And then, I decided, let me check out some of these synthesizers, man. Let me check out some of this stuff. So I'm like, oh, they got the Lindrum. I love that whole Lindrum sound from the 80s as well. So I started piecing things together. I was just messing around at first, and then I said, I am going to create a real composition off of this thing. Yeah. And I just went haywire. I was like a kid in a candy store. I couldn't believe all the options that were there. And I said, let's go overboard. Let's go straight for the jugular.
It continues to amaze me, like with GarageBand on iOS, and because there are still people out there, who poo-poo at the thing, going, oh, but it's not a real recording. It's not Pro Tools.
You're all wrong.
I see, I see it all the time. I was one story. I was at a jazz club in Minneapolis to see my friend's band, who I'm hopefully going to have on the show, Jendine Forberg. She's an amazing drummer for a band called the Wolverines, big band. And so I was at this show, and I got talking to this producer guy, and we're talking about like recording and stuff. And my friend said, oh, this is Jade. She's doing an album using iOS only and GarageBand and stuff. And he fully looked at me and just rolled his eyes. And I just grabbed my drink and walked away. There's no point talking to somebody like that, Just, you go roll your eyes over there, man.
If only they knew.
Yeah, for sure.
And when I first got into the program, I was well aware that some people treat it like it's nothing. And I did some reading up on it. I forget his name, but he's a top tier producer, and he used GarageBand on parts of one of Erykah Badu's albums.
Yep.
And it was what was the name of the album? I think it was the New America album. But you listen to that album, it's explosive, it's raw, it's in your face, and it sounds so professional. Like, for those who say GarageBand isn't capable of producing professional results, for those who say GarageBand is limited, it would behoove you to go on the internet, hit Google, and search out some of these very tracks that you love, and you might be surprised that some of them were made in GarageBand.
Yeah, and now I say to people like that, the first thing I normally say back is, why are you limiting yourself? And just throw the question back at them, make them think about, well, hang on a minute. All right, so what am I missing out on then? What, throw it back to get them thinking about, well, you're limiting yourself. and hopefully they'll go and find, you know, these amazing tools that are available, like on the pieces of glass that are in our hand. So before I continue on with stuff like that, you've spent a lot of time playing live with bands. So, you know,
yes.
How is some of the bands? Let's start first. Who are some of these bands that you have played with, and are you able to get this music from these bands that you've played with in the past?
Yeah, everything, all my experiences find its way into my compositions. You know, I've been around a lot of different circles. I've played Spirit of Life Ensemble, the jazz orchestra I mentioned earlier. That was my first band I played with when I first became a professional performer. I lead several different jazz groups of my own, different styles of jazz, more traditional stuff, more funk and hip hop and fusion-y stuff. I've played in plenty rock bands.
Of course.
I've played in plenty wedding bands where we play everything from disco to today's pop to Motown to 80s rock. I've played in a lot of Latin bands, a lot of reggae and ska bands. I belong to St. Luke Baptist Church out here in New York, and I play in the church band with them every Sunday. I've been playing in that band for 5 years.
I'll bet they're really blessed, man, to have that. I bet they, to have you,
and it's an amazing. Thank you, and the whole band is amazing too. And the trombonist in my band is also the trombonist in the church band with me. That's where I met him, and I just want to give him a shout out, Joe Beatty. He is one of the most amazing trombonists I've ever heard, and he's a dear friend of mine, beautiful soul. And he is also an amazing hip hop producer. He got some beats that'll make you break your neck.
Nice.
So look him up, y'all. Joe Beatty, or
Hey,
Beatty
Joe.
Money is his producer's name. Beatty Money.
So how is so let's get into some little bit of serious stuff. How is the current stuff that's going on in the world? How's that affecting you not being able to play live as much? You know, and how's that affecting your mental health and those musicians you know around you? How's all this going for you at the moment?
My heart bleeds because I've watched it devastate so many lives this year, and a lot of my musician peeps have had to leave New York for lack of work, and some of my musical heroes passed away from COVID this year too. It swept a whole lot of them.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Just like that, some of my promoter friends have died from COVID. I lost a lot of dear people this year from COVID. And of course, it devastated the scene. All the gigs had to disappear because it just wasn't safe for people to come together. That definitely put a big dent in our pockets. You know, I've been blessed. You know, my family have been blessed. We haven't suffered as much as a whole lot of people around us have. We definitely have suffered.
Yep.
You know, I was making pretty good money with all the work I was doing. You know, this COVID situation, it definitely put a damper. Thankfully, I'm an essential worker at FedEx, so I go to work overnight and do my thing, make my money, help support my family, and it's a blessing that I got into GarageBand when I did too, because that has also helped me to generate income, because there are other musicians who want trumpet on their tracks, and I'm able to use GarageBand to record my trumpet onto their tracks. And then I also sent, along with my I use GarageBand for a lot of purposes. There's recording my own songs. There's recording demos of my compositions to play live. There's recording trumpet for other artists. And I've also gotten to beat making myself. And so there's a couple of offers on the table from rappers who want to use some of my beats. So you know, GarageBand, it has helped me generate a little income in the middle of all this craziness. But I pray. You know, I thank God. I thank God for His protection, His provision. You know, I thank God that my family and I have been able to survive through all this. And, you know, I just really pray for those who have it far worse than I do. And it's sad to see. It's really sad to see.
Yeah.
And I look forward to us climbing up out of this in due time.
I'm totally with you on that, my friend. Speaking of spirituality, let's get to this. Now, I remember when we first met, and I hope I'm sure you're going to be okay with me mentioning this.
Yeah.
I'm a fairly on Facebook. I'm a fairly outspoken kind of person. I shoot straight, and I can shoot pretty viciously sometimes. And I'm heading down the path of spirituality and stuff. And I'm a firm believer of. I want people to believe and follow and have faith in the things that make them happy and can get the best out of themselves. What I don't agree with, and I remember we had a chat when we first became Facebook friends because, I put it out there pretty solid that there are certain parts of organized religion that I don't like. And it's the hatred that I see in some aspects of it. And I remember from our conversation, and I knew this before we even chatted, that you come from the very same place that I do as well, of care and love, and we want us to work together. And so, how important is your faith and all that in your music creation?
It's very important because in most of my music, I try to have a spiritual message in it somewhere, whether overtly or more subtle. And, my faith is very important to me. It's through my faith that I feel I really came alive. And it's unfortunate how people take something that's meant for good and they pervert it. Those people who are about hate and bigotry and discrimination, they're perverting the very intent of what they're perverting the very principles that my faith was founded upon. And I don't tolerate that. I don't tolerate that at all. I don't dig it. I don't co-sign it. I don't condone it.
Yep.
If you're really about God, then you're walking in love. You're walking in wanting to help people. You're walking in wanting to be a blessing, make your presence a positive thing in people's lives, regardless of their backgrounds or whether or not y'all even share the same beliefs. I ain't with all that other stuff. I don't go for that. It leaves a sour taste in my mouth just thinking about it.
Yeah, man. I didn't grow up in a religious family or anything, but I think back to as a child, as my concept, my understanding of religion and going to Sunday school at a period of my life because my friends did and stuff, was that it was based on love and charity and putting others first and caring for each other. And it worries me how so many within faith have got so lost and it tarnishes good people like yourself and many others I'm sure and other people I know who have faith, who are beautiful, loving people who have no bigotry or whatsoever. So with your music, it's I want your music to reach more people so we can turn that around. Do you know what I mean?
Amen. Yes. And I want that same thing. And as far as my faith, I grew up where we would go to church, but and I'm gonna be straight. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I grew up. I thought, go to church, and then I really didn't know what to believe. I've spent parts of my early life as an atheist. I've spent parts of my early life as an agnostic. I've had spells where I tried out certain spiritual paths just out of curiosity and then treated it like a toy. You get tired of the toy, you throw it away. After years of ups and downs in my life, I found the right church at a particularly low point in my life. It seemed like I was losing everything, lost. I had possibly the most gruesome breakup in my life. I was losing gigs. I was losing confidence in myself. I was losing everything. And it got to the point to where I was having to play in the subway station in the dead of winter just to raise money to catch up on rent. to make rent for the sublet I was staying at. This guy saw me playing, and I saw him studying me. After I finished playing, he approached me. He asked me, "Have I or would I like to play for a church?" I was like, "Yes." So he told me his name. He told me that he was a drummer, and he invited me to his church. It turns out that he was also the pastor's father. So I got with that band, and at first it was like, wow, this is a really dope band. And yeah, I got a little steady income too. Cool, cool. But as I spent time there listening to the way the preacher preached the message in such an unfiltered way that really holds the listener accountable for who they are and what the faith means to them, what Christ means to them, what's the real message of Christ. It finally started penetrating me after all these years, and I had this intense spiritual awakening. I started hearing things. Like, it's things I could go into, people would think I am crazy. But my life slowly transformed. I went through a few more hurdles, but I felt like I had this battery in my back through the hurdles I went through. And then it all came to a beautiful helm in September of 2017 when my wife came into the picture. And she is a woman of unshakable faith as well. And everything just up, 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 up. And no matter what challenges come my way, and there's challenges, life ain't ever gonna be perfect, but no matter what challenges have come my way, it just keeps doing this. Life just keeps doing this. My faith keeps doing this. I'm healthier than I felt in ages physically. I'm emotionally healthier than I felt in ages. I've battled depression since I was 10 years old. I have attempted suicide multiple times in my teens. I spent most of my teens hanging out, drinking, smoking weed, feeling sorry for myself, wasting time, being used by people and using people myself. And I spent my 20s trying to climb out of that, but it would do that. Same thing in my early 30s. 34, I found Christ, and that just set everything in motion. So I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful for having God in my life, and I'm very thankful for serving a God who constantly challenges me beyond my comfort zone, who constantly challenges me to look beyond myself, who constantly challenges me to not just talk the talk, but walk the walk. And that was a true message of Jesus. He wasn't having that. You come trying to wear your religiosity on your sleeve. You know all the slogans, you know all the sayings, you know all the religious rules, know that. But how are you living your life? Are you high off your own supply?
Yeah.
How are you really living your life? You looking down on that person because of what they're afflicted with? Or you looking down on that person because of the way that person sees fit to dress? You're not about that life if that's how you can. And Jesus challenged that, and he pissed people off with that.
Yeah.
He pissed people off. People wanted to stone the prostitute. He's like, okay, first one of y'all that never sinned, feel free to cast the first stone. People would get mad at him. You're this holy figure. Why are you eating with peasants? Why are you eating with prostitutes? Why are you eating with robbers? He hugged everybody. He welcomed everybody. Because this thing is, I can change your life. Whatever you're going through, I can change your life. It don't matter where you're from, what you did, how you look, how you dress. I can change life. I can fill you with a love you've never known before. And you can be a benefit to each other.
Yeah, man.
So everybody from the old school religious world would try to come for him because it was a shock to their system. This ain't how we do things.
You're too dangerous.
This isn't how it's supposed to go. Yeah, exactly. He was a rebel. He was a rebel, and they got tired of it, and they banded together and killed him for it.
Yeah, and look, the story comes back to those people who were willing to step out of the box and be dangerous. And the irony is today with organized religion, let's just go there, is that a lot of, from what I get, those who actually tortured and murdered that person are the very same people now who are torturing and putting people through shit in their lives for
Exactly.
just being, you know. And look, I've read a lot of religious texts. I have a vast amount of knowledge of different religions and stuff because I myself too have gone down those paths. I call myself a metheist these days because I don't even follow atheism or anything like that. I try to do the right thing by myself and the right thing by everybody else and not hurt people. The ground I walk on is my God, because without it, I'm not here. It's very simple stuff, and just do the right thing. And I don't need to worry about anything else. As long as you do as best as you can, there's no need to worry about anything. So I keep it simple like that, and it's virtually a religion, you know. It's the same kind of stuff, you know. So you said your family's super important, man. Like, moving on to...
Absolutely.
You found your wife. Did you find her through your spirituality? Yeah. Is that how you met her?
I met her before she came back into my life in September 2017. I met her at a performance I did in Brooklyn the year before. And we caught each other's attention, but the timing wasn't right.
Right.
And she found me on Facebook a year later.
Wow.
And this where things get deep. You know, this is a spiritual world, is something else. She let me know that God had a message for me. And she spoke on things that she had no way of knowing about me, because the things she spoke on are not things I've shared on social media. They are not things I've shared with people that she would have known. And so I took up on an offer to call her when I got home, and we were on the phone for like 4 hours just talking about God. And all these things happened, and I started having these dreams and these visions, and it became clear that it was our divine purpose to find each other and get married. So I married her in 3 weeks.
Wow.
I married her in 3 weeks. I did what I had to do, made the sacrifices I had to make, dropped everything I was doing before, you know, and we made it happen. And we are coming up on our 3rd anniversary. We are wildly in love. We support each other. She is beautiful inside and out. She supports what I'm doing with the music. We lift each other up in God. We hold each other accountable. And it's especially important that she holds me accountable, because I was a mess before her. She is one of the things that helped make me better. And I can't thank her enough for that. And just the whole family in general. Before her, it was just me and my daughter struggling. With her and her 2 beautiful daughters, now I have 3 daughters. I have a beautiful wife, and I have even more motivation than I've ever had before. I have even more drive than I've ever had before. If I could wake up and do something that put a smile on those 4 faces, then that is a high like none other.
Yeah, man.
You know, they gave me something to live for in addition to my music.
The smile on your face says it all. You are absolutely beaming when you talk about your wife. So that's just so happy to hear, you know. And you said about divine intervention, about her meeting you and knowing all this stuff. I think too, what may have... So you said that she saw you at a gig. Maybe it's that thing that you carry in your hand there as well, that you blow through and create that amazing tone that speaks on a much deeper level than any English language could. You know, I think music is also a language that we don't understand yet. So
Absolutely.
I kind of wish we all spoke music as our first language. Wouldn't the
I
world be
do
better?
too. It would be tenfold
So
better.
much easier. We could cut out the radio as well.
That's right.
So now that you've found GarageBand, and you know, when I think I first came across your music on the GarageBand users group on GarageBand live on Ron Ward's show, and I saw the screen recording of like your one of your jazz compositions. I'm just going, what? How the hell have you done this on iOS? So creating these songs and releasing, how has that been compared to, you know, how the old school the train of thought of releasing music? How has that been challenging or easy for you to do?
It's been both challenging and easy for me to do, and it's been highly liberating too, because I am 100% in control of the way the music flows, of how I want it released, how I want to mix it, how I want to master it. I have 100% control of everything. I don't have to worry as far as what I'm doing in GarageBand. I don't have to worry about maybe somebody in the band having an off day, unless that somebody is me. you know. And I still very much love recording with actual
Of
bands,
course.
and that will always have its place. But I very much love what I'm doing, kind of as the one man band thing as well. And it's very it's very enjoyable, very fulfilling. I'm discovering so much more about myself as a musician. Getting into GarageBand has also got me back onto my keys. It was my first
Yep.
instrument, and I got GarageBand. I ended up again, thank you to Pete John, cause he had something on good MIDI controllers. So this
Nice.
baby right here, the M Audio, this has been my go-to for when I want to play my keys on my GarageBand songs.
They are great,
And
those things.
I'm just yeah, and I'm loving it. I'm loving like getting into the different plugins, the different apps, and I'm in love with Syntronic right now for my '80s project that I've been working on. I've been using a lot of Syntronic, using those vintage analog sounds.
Well, since where you've started talking about that, let's go through some of the apps. So let me pop up my screen here so we can show some of the apps that you're going to talk about. So what are some of the apps that you are, 5 to 10, whatever you want to bring up, and I'll bring them up on the screen so people can... The apps that if you didn't have tomorrow, you would cry.
Well, Syntronic is definitely on that list. Syntronic is dope. So Syntronic is, especially if you want those classic synth colors from the '80s, and I'm using that for my project, and I'm also using it for some of the hip hop beats that I'm working on as well. So you have like
How do I spell that?
Go ahead.
Oh,
SYNTRONIK.
thank you. Continue. Sorry, I just couldn't find it.
So with Syntronic, you get all these great synthesizer sounds. Like you got the Jupiter, all those great things, the Junos, all the Oberheins, all those great things, those classic sequencer basses, and it gets addictive.
Yeah.
It gets addictive.
1650 presets, man. Wow.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm not even recording anything. Sometimes I'm just sitting in a living room, just playing on these synths and just digging it, just feeling like I'm in Journey or something like that,
Nice.
Or feeling like I'm Dr. Fink in Prince's band or something.
Cool. Anything else? What else have you got in your magic bag of apps?
So another one. Now this goes into the recording aspect in GarageBand. There's this app called Lo-Fi Dirt that I use especially for my hip hop production, because it adds this grit. If it's one thing I could say about the virtual drums, they could be a little more dirtier. But thankfully, we have things like Lo-Fi Dirt to achieve that end.
Yeah.
So you have different presets on that to if you want to make things sound more boomy or more dusty or more faded out, more lo-fi. So that's one I really love as well.
I think a lot of those apps don't get much credit. Like I have an absolute ton of those, and this show I do is about apps, and every day I look through my apps, and I have this folder which is just full of stuff to dirty stuff up, to smash stuff down and make it all yucky, and I think those apps don't get enough credit. But like in any recording studio, as you've been around as a musician for a long time, those are some of the most important things for so many great artists to get those filthy sounds that make you stand out from the crowd.
Yes. I love it. Another one that I like, and this is for my EQing in GarageBand, the
Oh yeah.
LRC5 plugin. Yeah, and I like to experiment with that a lot, especially on my trumpet, and like when I do like the virtual guitar stuff, it, like I could get exactly those highs or those mids that
Yeah.
I want. And I'm like a chef in the kitchen. I'm putting all these ingredients together, seeing how much or how little this can lead to that.
Yeah,
So,
LRC5 just
so
takes any DAW to a new level because, I mean, and the beautiful thing about it is, well, there's a few things. It's free. You can have many instances of it open in many tracks because it's so lightweight. That's a really important thing with GarageBand. So if you don't have LRC5 in your little bag of tricks, folks, get it.
Do yourself a favor
or
and
stop
get it.
playing music. It's an essential.
Yeah, so it's another one that this is a more recent discovery for me. Zero Reverb.
I know this one.
Cause I've more recently gotten into trying different types of reverb.
Yeah.
And so with Zero Reverb, I'm finding that I can achieve those different types of reverb for the different genres that I'm working with.
And it's a really nice interface
And then,
too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very simple.
It's very intuitive.
And it's free. This is free too. So these guys at Blamsoft, they have an entire suite. So Zero Chorus, F16 filter.
That was going to be the next one I named too.
Zero Chorus, yeah. They have F16 filter, DC9 overdrive, and I'm still think they're all free. I think so.
Yeah, the ones I got are free.
So you were going to do Zero Chorus next?
Yeah. So Zero Chorus, I find that helps me especially like if you listen to like the parts of 80s joint, for example, where things just pile up and get very dense. The Zero Chorus helped me clean those areas up where it was able to be dense without being muddy.
Yeah, and great for guitars too. Fantastic app for guitars. And again, I think the beautiful thing about these apps too is that, as people can see probably on the screen here, they use the interface is the same across the board. So it's a very familiar suite of apps. You won't get lost because that can be challenging for people. I think it scares a lot of people opening a new app each time and there's a whole new interface to look at. And you're like, oh my God, where do I start?
And I can attest to that. And I could definitely attest to that. And that's kind of what I'm going through with a new DAW, or new for me, that I just started with, and I'm enjoying it, but it's like the interface is like, so I'm figuring it out, but I'm looking forward to sharing some of the content I'm creating on that one. You may be familiar with it, Beatmaker 3.
And you would smash music on that. Yeah, it's really cool, Beatmaker 3. Yeah, that seems like it's right up your alley. So I don't use it. I've got it, but I haven't used it because I think there are apps, DAWs, I think, that really cater to specific styles as well.
Yes.
As Beatmaker says, it's heading towards that beat orientated sound, kind of like Cubase's 3. That's heading there as well. Fruity Loops as well. FL Studio, I think they call it now. Where something like Audio Pro is for, I mean, there's no denying it. It's more for rock bands and stuff like that, and but they can all be used together. That's the beautiful thing.
They can.
Are you planning on doing that, integrating your use of GarageBand with Beatmaker?
I absolutely am. My aim in the long run is to be able to combine all these different tools to achieve the results I want to achieve.
Yeah. So I should put up Beatmaker 3 now that you've mentioned it. Is there anything else that you have?
Let me try to remember, because it's I got like a list of things, and some things I use more than others, but they are all in my arsenal for a reason. So there's also Audio Kit Synth One. It's another synthesizer system. I use Syntronic a lot more, probably because I'm so entrenched in trying to finish this project. But I've also used Audio Kit Synth One for some of the other things that I've been working on.
I'm just bringing that up as well, and I have that too, and I can testify. It is a killer app. So much depth in it, in that app, definitely.
Yeah.
I forget how much it is. Is it free? It's only cheap, I think. I can't remember. I hate how on the App Store, if you once you pay for something,
it's
is
free.
it free? Yeah, it is, because it's open source. Yeah. I do hate on the App Store that once you buy something, you can't see the price ever again because you own it. I wish they would put a reminder.
And then someone say, "Hey, that's a good app. Yeah, how much is it?" And I'm like, "Oh,
good luck. You find it." What else have you got there?
That's pretty much it. As far as stuff that I've used enough to warrant the mention.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm still very much building my collection, and still learning how to use. I'm still a baby at this. I've only been doing it a little over a year, and I'm just trying to make sure I learn everything I can.
We're forever learning, I've been doing this stuff for years and years, and I'll tell you, man, every day I learn something new. And the day that I don't learn something new is the day I'm dead. Is the way I look at it.
Amen. Yes, I look at it the same way. And you're a trailblazer though. Like I've read your pedigree. You've been one of the whole innovators at the inception of this stuff.
I'm just a troublemaker. I just want to cause trouble, but I guess these days too, I want to teach people. I not teach people. I want to give people the spotlight, because I think there's not enough people out there who want to give people the spotlight. I think it's very important that we use our knowledge that we get to not only create amazing things, but allow others to shine. It's that charitable thing. Absolutely. That what I expect from religion, it's because it's a very religious thing. Music is my religion. It truly is. So what I want to ask you, because we are nearing the end, and what I will do is I will finish the show with your latest track. But I want to know, are we going to get an album from you soon?
Yes, I've been fervently working to finish it up, and it's like I am just one track away.
God.
I am just one track away. And I actually, my original plan, to be honest, Jade, was to have been able to release the album on my birthday, but sadly I wasn't able to finish that last track in time.
These things happen for a reason.
But it's
So what?
It's just going to be nice. It's the whole album has that 80s theme to it, different elements of the 80s. You got your more riotous, rocky type stuff. Then you got your more, laid back funk type stuff. But it's like different shades. I'm using all these different synthesizers. I'm coming up with all these different horn arrangements and, different drum tracks. I'm trying to create something with a lot of variety in it. And it's, it's just a creative zone I'm in right now, and I just want to get it out there.
I wouldn't expect anything less from you. I really can't wait for that. That's going to be so cool. Something to definitely look forward to. And it's going to be in my Apple Music straight away and on my headphones for my morning walks. So we are at the end. I'll finish with your song, but I do have one last question that I always love asking, because it normally makes people's brains melt. But you know what? Before I do that, because I know it's in your hand.
Yeah.
Are you going to play us something?
Sure.
Man.
Sure.
My last point here says, are you going to play us something?
Yeah. I'm going to play something called Solar. It's a Miles Davis classic.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh man, thank you so much, man. This is definitely one of the highlights of my interview series to have you play something live. That's so cool. Thank you so much. I had it written here to ask because I knew you'd have it in your hand. I have this
it's never
I have
far
this
away.
vision of you doing your grocery shopping, and it's like tucked away in the back of your pants that you could just pull it out at any time.
If I could play with that, I would.
I love it so much. So I'm going to hit you with the last question that makes most people's brains melt. When, in your opinion, is it the best time for somebody to start creating?
I feel the best time for somebody to start creating is when they feel that urge to start creating.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not for that making somebody feel like they are too young or too old to start creating. If you feel that welling up inside of you, go for it. Learn all you can, have a ball, and go for it.
Yeah. Damn straight. Couldn't agree more. Just do it, as Nike says. So, once again, I will thank you so very much for coming on the show, sharing your music, your insights, your history, your belief system about your family, so much. Thank you very much for opening up so honestly and with such passion. So thank you so very much. It's been an honor to have you on the show.
Very welcome. It's been an honor to be here, and thank you, Jade, for giving me this platform.
My absolute pleasure. And I want to say hi to your family out there. I hope you guys enjoyed the show as well. So what we will do is we'll close the show. I'll say goodbye to everybody. I'll do just the usual stuff of, if you want to join me on Sunday, I'm doing a very special show, everybody, where I'm going to a 2-hour live stream. I'm going to show you the process of transferring one of my songs from my album, my forthcoming album, from GarageBand iOS into Audio Pro.
Nice.
The whole process. I've got a camera set up in my vocal booth. I've got cameras set up all around the room. And you're going to get to see me singing in the vocal booth, and we're going to go through a whole process of transporting, mixing down, laying tracks, just to show you the raw mistakes and all the problems that are going to happen, because mistakes make you better. And that's what it all...
They do.
Yeah, man.
They do.
Love mistakes. You know, I used to hate them. I used to be a perfectionist, and I think we've all been through that. Yeah. Perfectionism is unachievable. Embrace your mistakes, because you'll only be better off for it.
And that's one reason why I love Miles Davis so much. And one of his philosophies was there is no mistakes in music. It's all in how you resolve it.
Man. It's the resolve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ask Meatloaf. Every song of his ends with a resolve. So we will sign off from here, and we'll end the show with your last single that you released. So it's Every Time I Come Around. I am right. This is your newest one, yeah?
Yes. Before you do that, I just want to thank everybody who's been tuning into the live feed. Thank you all for your kind words. Thank you all for the support. I love you all. I'm looking forward to getting this out there for everybody. Peace and love.
Thank you for reminding me of that, because I'm a shocking host sometimes. I'm still too new at this. Thanks, guys, for being here. Thanks for those who are on the replay as well. Do all the usual stuff.
Feel free to find me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm not on Twitter, but I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Feel free to find me. And, you know, as far as what I do have released this on all the platforms. So thanks again.
And all those links are in the description. Every single one to all of your music is all there. Go listen. And I'll let you know too, I do this with all my guests. So your music is on my Apple Music right now, and I leave it on repeat, all of your songs, for the next 24 hours. So you will make all of $1.65 very soon.
Right on. Yeah.
doing it for the musos, man. All right, so we'll sign off, and we'll leave you so you can mute. I'll mute, and here is your latest track, Every Time I Come Around. See you later, folks. Take care, and adios.